In this tutorial, I'm going to give you a basic overview of the Divi Builder blog module. Now, the blog module creates a feed of posts in a blog style, and so you can use this to create your own custom blog pages. You can choose which categories of posts to display. You can choose different layout settings. And for example, here is a page that I've built with the blog module. I've placed the blog feed here on the left, and to the right I've placed a sidebar module. So it's an example of how you can create your own kind of custom blog page. This is using the standard format, and down here we have the blog module in a different format. I have it placed by itself, no sidebar, and I have it in grid format instead of standard format. And it also supports various post formats. So here's a quote post, a link post, a gallery post, video as well, and audio. And so I have another post that goes over the post format, so be sure to check that out. I'm not going to touch on how to create those post formats in this post. I'm just going to go over the actual blog module, which is merely used to display the post that you've created. But you do have to create the post first. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is create a new page, and I'm going to basically create our own custom blog page. So I'm going to go over to the dashboard here. I'm going to click the Add New Page button. I'm just going to call it Custom Blog, and I'm going to click the Use Divi Builder. Now, on this page, I'm going to create a very standard blog design. I'm going to use a specialty section here. So I'm going to add a specialty section, which is great for pages with sidebars. And in this case, I want to have my blog feed on the left and a sidebar on the right. And so I'm going to use this format here with a 1/4 column sidebar. I'm going to delete this first section because I don't need that. And in the left here, I'm going to add my blog module. And on the right here in the sidebar, I'm going to add a sidebar module. So I'm not going to go over how to use the sidebar module. I'm just going to add it for effect here. But be sure to check out the sidebar module tutorial if you want to learn more about that. In this tutorial, I'm just going to focus on the blog module. So I'm going to click the Insert Columns button first, and I'm going to put it in a full column, one column, and then I'm going to click Insert Modules and look for that blog module, which is right here. Now, once you click on the blog module, you're going to get greeted with the module settings page. And all Divi Builder modules settings are broken up into 3 tabs: the general settings, advanced design settings, and custom CSS. Now, everything you need to configure the module and create a great page with Divi can be found inside the general settings tab. There's no need to venture outside this tab into the advanced design settings unless you really want to have more control over the design and get a little bit more advanced with how you customize that design. So if you move over here, you're going to get all kinds of customization options, and you can really customize everything about the module. And if you want to add some custom CSS to the module, you can do that too. You can add it to individual parts of the module. Now, I have created tutorials for both of these tabs that go over in more detail how to use them, so be sure to check out those tutorials if you want to learn more. But in this tutorial, I'm just going to focus on the general settings. So first up is the layout, and you can choose between 2 different layouts, full width and grid, which I previewed just a moment ago. The grid option places the blog posts in smaller boxes, and it'll separate those into different columns based on the column width you've chosen. And you can also choose full width, which is a kind of a standard blog feed, and the posts will be 100% width stacked on top of each other vertically. I'm going to stick with full width for this one, but we can check out the grid layout later. Next up is the post number. You can choose how many posts are displayed per page. I'm just going to choose 4. And if you have more than 4 posts, you'll have some pagination at the bottom, and you can switch, explore deeper into different pages and find more posts. Next up, you can choose which categories to display. If you don't choose any, then it's going to display all of your categories. But if you'd like to limit it to just a few categories, you can do that. In this case, I just want everything to display, so I'm just going to leave it unselected. You can choose the date format. So this uses standard PHP date formats. You can go look that up. There's some great tutorials online. Just type in how to use PHP date formats. And you can customize. You can say, for example, if you want to say July 1st, 2015, or maybe you want to say, to do it numbers instead. So you might want to say, if it was like October 10th, it'd be 10/10/2015. You can switch between those various date formats by typing in the appropriate date format here. Next up is the option to show featured images. If you've uploaded a featured image for your post, you can choose to display or to not display that image along with each post. Next is the content itself. So this is the content of the blog post. You can choose to automatically truncate that content and create an excerpt out of it. So it just maybe shows a small paragraph, and then you have to click into the blog post to read the full post. Or you can choose to display the full post on the page. If you do have an excerpt, you can turn on and off the Read More button. You can choose to, within the post meta, to show the author, date, categories, comment count, and you can also choose whether or not you want to show pagination at the bottom. As for offset, what this allows you to do is skip a few posts. For example, if you want to display your blog post, but you want to skip the first 3 posts for whatever reason, you can do that. So if I put in 3 here, the 3 most recent posts will not be shown. This is great if you want to have multiple blog modules on the same page. For example, let's say you're creating kind of more advanced magazine style format. Maybe, your first post, the most recent post, you want to have it full width. So you create a blog module, set it to full width, and just display one post. And then below that, you have maybe another blog module in grid format. And you don't want to display that first post twice, so you might set the offset to 1 to skip it. So that's how offset works, but in this case, I'm not going to use it. Next up is text color. So if your blog module is on top of a light background, you want to have dark text. If the blog module is on top of a dark background, you're going to want to switch to light text. And then we have our standard admin labels, CSS ID and CSS class, which we don't need to worry about in this tutorial. If at any time you want to get a preview of what your module looks like, you can click the preview icon here, and you'll get your blog module in this case, or whatever module you're working with, and it'll be previewed within the current section you're working on. So you can see my section is displayed here with the sidebar module, and here's the blog module I just added. And you can switch through our various responsive design testing tabs here to get an idea what that module looks like on different devices. And so if I were to switch, for example, to grid layout, I could do that and get a preview of what that looks like. So now I have the grid format instead. Maybe I want to disable featured images. I could do that as well. Switch back to our preview mode here. And now you can see that the featured image has been removed from this standard post. And if I save and publish, we can take a look at this page on the front end. So there we have it. We've created a basic blog page with a sidebar and the blog module here set to grid format with pagination, and you can paginate through this list of posts. And like I said, you can also dig into those advanced design settings if you want to. So over here, you could customize the header font, for example. Maybe make it bold and all caps, increase the size a little bit. It's all kinds of stuff. In fact, there's no limit to what you can do in these advanced design settings. And while you're customizing it, feel free to pop into that preview to see what you've created. Here I've increased the font size, made it bold and all caps, and changed the font as well. So that's a basic overview of the Divi Builder blog module.